this week's video, I'm going to work on this tub of things I've needed to get mended for a while. I've got these two shirts. They're my sister's. She wants me to make them short-sleeved. I've got a lot of my pants. This pair of pants has some seams popped in the thighs. This pair of pants has a seam popped front and center. This shirt, I think the sleeve is coming off. Easy fix. And then these guys need some patches on the thighs. This one I've patched in the pants, but I think the patch wasn't stretchy enough and the patch split. These ones haven't been patched before. These ones have been patched. I might just have to reattach the patches. That might be easy. And then, ooh, I don't remember what this needs. Ooh, these are my sister's pants. She's been begging me to fix these for her for months. But I only knew how to fix them not too long ago. So I've got to replace the zipper on this guy. I have a replacement zipper already, ready to go. So that shouldn't take too long. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm not going to do the jeans today, but I have 8 things that I'd like to get done today. I'm going to knock them out as best I can. I'm going to start with these pants and then move to the shirts because those are my sister's and I don't need my stuff as much because it's summer and I'm not really wearing pants as much right now. But I'll do the black pants, my sister's pants, these shirts, and I think next I'll do those 2 pairs of pants because there's the easiest. I might do this pair of pants right after this one because they're both black. But I'm going to get those done because they're the easiest, and then if I have time today, I'll get these done. Okay, so these pants also need another hook, but I'll put that on at the end. Just as important as the seams you remove from the pants are the seams you leave in place, because you want to do as little work as possible. So to take the zipper out, you need to open this. You need to open the zipper right here. You need to open these stitches. You need to open here. And you need to remove the zipper, which means opening this line of stitches right here, and then you need to remove this. Now down here you need to open it as much as is covering the zipper, and if you want to make it easier on yourself, I would suggest removing this bottom part. Now these steps are different for jeans. In jeans you don't remove this seam right here because it's decorative stitching and it's very difficult to replicate. So I'm going to get started opening. you can see here that this part of the zipper was stitched just lined up with the serging here. Now this is important information because it makes sure that we line up the zipper when we put it back together. Excuse me. So just remember that, and when we put this zipper in, we'll line it up with the same spot. Okay. Now we take this little guy and throw it in the trash. The pull is in good condition, so you can take the pull off and then save the pull and throw the zipper tape away. Because this is a size 3 zipper, I believe, which means it'll work on any size 3 nylon zipper tape. So if you ever have a zipper that has a broken pull, you can replace it. Now, just as important as taking everything off is cleaning the zipper. Now, gotta make sure all of these little fuzzies are off. Otherwise it makes your job look sloppy, and you don't want that. Now, one last thing we have to open is this stitching right here. So if we don't open the stitching and we put the zipper on here, then the stitching will show on the top, and we don't want that. Now, if you want to be perfect, I would suggest using some disappearing chalk and trace the outline of the stitching. That way, when you put it back, you have a guideline to follow. The next step is to line the zipper up. So make sure when you zip it, you have the right side of the zipper on the right side and the left side of the zipper on the left side. Don't switch it up, your zipper won't work. So now we're gonna take the zipper, close it, and then the teeth have to be pointed down because otherwise it won't zip closed. And we're going to line, actually we're gonna open this one. You can see where the old stitching was, it's right here, and this shiny part right here is where the zipper track was. Now on your pair of pants, it might have a different coloration. You might be able to see it, but if you don't see it, then just follow this stitching line. Now I've got my pins, and I'm going to line up the zipper fly. Remember, you have the lock above this section right here. I'm just going to pin the way I'm going to sew it. Now another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open this zipper now, and I'm actually going to cut the zipper. I'm going to cut it right here, as long as you can keep it and still go under the buttonhole or button that's here. So I'm going to cut it right here. So just cut it right there. Now just be careful that you don't zip your zipper because the head will come off and then you have to struggle to put it back on. Okay, so the first step when you're sewing your pants back together is to make sure that the bottom section of the zipper hasn't opened too far. Now you can see I forgot this step, so it's recorded a little bit out of order. What you need to do is to sew from the bottom of your zipper right here all the way to where it starts opening. That way you don't have to do it by hand. So I'm just gonna line it up. Gotta open some more of these stitches. Should have done this in the correct order, but I forgot. So, putting it in the correct order for you guys. And we're gonna stitch all the way up to right here. Now the next part is to sew the zipper tape down, and just pick the zipper foot you like using the most. Don't use an invisible zipper foot though, because that's not for this type of zipper. We're just gonna put it down and we're gonna sew it. Don't forget to backstitch. Now you're gonna sew all the way until you can. So either the flap is past the zipper tape or the zipper tape is past the flap, but you sew until they don't meet anymore, and you backstitch. I always like zipping it, make sure everything worked properly. And now we're going to sew all the way along this line. You can kind of see where it was. I kind of left some of the stitches. Generally you don't want to do that, but in this case it's a good idea because you have a line to follow. I'm going to sew in that flat pattern. This is still with using the zipper foot. Make sure the zipper tape is inside there. We're just going to throw some pins in so it doesn't move. Now here, you want to, this is kind of difficult, you want to start underneath the flap here. So kind of move it out of the way if you can. And you don't want your back stitching to go beyond where the waistband covers up the zipper. Nope, sorry about that, you guys. Okay, now I just made a bit of a mistake. I shouldn't have sewn this all the way to the end because I have to have this zipper tape loose. So if you're sewing this, hold this flap up. Okay, the next step is to attach this zipper to the zipper placket. Now the placket is the part that goes behind the zipper so that when you open the zipper, you can't see anything underneath. So we see that the waistband meets the zipper right here, and I measured it, and this is where the waistband meets the zipper. So I'm going to line my zipper tape up with my placket, If you remember, the original zipper tape lined up with the edge of this serging. So we're gonna line up the edge of the placket where it meets the waistband and the edge of the zipper where it meets the waistband. Just like that. We're gonna put a pin in it. And we're just gonna pin this in place. Now if you want to be careful, you're not sure that you put the tape in the exact right spot, you don't know if it's going to line up, just close the zipper. And just take a look at it. If it's flat, smooth, and there aren't any puckers, like this, you did it right. So we're just going to open the zipper, put it under our machine. Got to move this back to the other side. Okay, I need you to sew straight down the middle of the zipper tape because you don't want this line of stitching visible when you do the next step. Okay, so now there's a little lining in here, so these pins are catching the lining for the next step, so you can kind of ignore them because they don't really have to do with replacing the zipper. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna line up this side of the pant with the side of the placket. Now it goes up right next to it. About right there. And we're gonna pin it in place. So you can kind of see this line on the zipper tape. It's where the twill changes direction. That's where you want to line it up. Now again, this is where the waistband meets this fabric, so line that waistband section up with that. And we're gonna pin it. Pin it all the way to the bottom. Now we're gonna take our pants, line it up. We're gonna try to stitch it underneath the waistband. Not forgetting to backstitch. Now we're nearly done. I'm just gonna close the zipper. As much as possible, and I'm going to do this stitching again, which I did at the wrong step in the process. I'm just going to go stitch around the bottom through all of the layers. This is very important. Through all the layers. Now it's almost done. I almost followed the line perfectly. Not quite, but no one's gonna tell. One of the last steps is to sew these two pieces together. Now it is already sewn through all of the layers, but I'm just gonna sew it a little extra right here so that there's no stress. But on here, just backstitch a couple times. Nothing too fancy. Now that's all the machine stitching for now. Actually, we're done. So with the machine stitching, there's no more machine stitching. So I'm going to turn the machine off. Save the lamp inside there. And next step is to clean up all these threads. They're all in the way. And they need to go. This is actually from manufacturing, this thread right here, but we might as well get rid of it. Okay, so just make sure your zipper unzips and zips. Perfect. Now the last step is to close the waistband. Now, unless you want to take the whole waistband off, sew it here with the machine, and then sew it and stitch the ditch, which is going to take a lot longer. We're just going to do it by hand. And we're going to use a slip stitch or ladder stitch, whatever you want to call it. I'm sure there's plenty of other names, but I call it a slip stitch. And the smaller the stitching is, the closer it looks like machine stitching. But it's going to be in the shadow and not really visible, so it's okay if it's not the finest stitching. So we're going to pick up a little bit of the back thread, or back fabric. We're going to pick up a little bit of the pant fabric and then a little bit of the waistband fabric. Just a little bit of a tunnel. And then a little bit of the pant fabric, and a little bit of the waistband fabric. And then a little bit of the pant fabric, and a little bit of the waistband fabric. And then so on and so forth. Now you see we've come to the end of the opening, so we're gonna tie it off, and we just do this by going backwards. And then forwards. And then backwards again in this little loop. And that does the same thing as machine back stitching. And we're going to tunnel the thread up under and cut it. Now we just repeat that process with the back of the pants and then on this side. And then on the back of the pants. And now, that's all the steps. You're done. Got a working zipper. It's closed. This is closed. This is closed. This is closed. And if you did it right, it looks like you didn't touch anything. Now this pair of pants needs a new button and a new clip, but other than that, these are good to go. And your sister can stop nagging you to get them done. I mean, she has been asking me to do them for a while, but I only knew how to do a little bit ago. I don't have time until today. So, they're done. hope you found this step-by-step instructive and that you now can replace all of the broken zippers. And I also replaced the button. I don't have any black buttons or very strong buttons. This is the strongest button I have. It's pretty thick. It should last a long time. Yeah, I think that's enough information for one video. So I'll leave the other mending for a future date. Well, I'd like to give a big shout out to all 34 of my subscribers. Thanks for watching. See you in a couple of weeks. Bye! Surprise!
Okay. Ooh. An orange button.
Yes, it's the best quality button I have.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Nice. I can't even tell it was broken. Okay. Nice.
I have to replace that still, but I don't have the equipment, so.
This is a locking zipper, right?
Yep, as long as it's flat down, it won't open.
I'm testing that theory right now. It's a locking zipper. Okay. This looks really good, Jenny. Thank you.
It's a new zipper. I put it in.
Yeah. This looks really good. I'm gonna go try these on. Is that okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.